So I thought what we'd do next, and there's no hurry on this, but to bring it from the interior to the exterior and make it whole, is each take turns sharing what this experience was like, whatever's alive in you, whatever you care to share about the experience. And then we'll take some time for everyone else to reflect back what they hear so that you get your presence affirmed. So whoever, whenever, someone wants to go first, and no rush, because I find that silence is pretty compelling and sometimes it's hard to come out of it.
Mm-hmm. So I'll be glad to start. It started with this experience of me loving something or someone, and it took me to this experience today with my dog, Lola, and because there were loud voices from the other person and from me. Once we got to the house, she was shaking, and I asked her to go outside. And I needed some space from her. That at some point came back to her on her outside deck, and my body found it. I had a coming down to her where she was laying on the ground. And so in that experience, in the meditation, it was me sinking meeting her love where she was. Yeah. And felt that in my body going down. I feel it now. And the second part of the meditation, having a hard time. The second part of that meditation was harder for me of me receiving love, and my mind began to ruminate about it, like, okay, when did someone love me? So David, really what it came to was your email about this class, and then a response to my blog, and so assured in my body of that meeting, of that of those two energies, of yours coming toward me and me accepting it. So assured, so no questions. I could feel that in me. Metness of just landing, I guess is the word. And then the third experience was of me meeting me in love, loving presence. Mm-hmm. And that was even harder. Just a number of things going on in my world in the last year and a half where, so it was, that was harder. Knowing too, it was in there, but the landing, it was like trying to find it, going around it. So I don't know that I met that. And all three were different experiences, and noticing me in all those experiences, and There was a somatic experience to that, and also a energetic, which was mind and body. Yeah, maybe that's what I want to say. That make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would one of Allie or Genevieve, would you be willing to reflect back the essence or some of the points of what Carlene said that resonated with you? What it was that you heard?
I would. Carlene, I loved how what I heard you saying was in that first going to meet Lola, and not just kind of where she was at in the shaking or anything, but physically like coming down to meet her. And you even did this with your hands too, when you're talking about with David, like going to where you knew you would be able to be met and to receive. And then thirdly, I saw you doing this, like kind of looking for the meeting of yourself. So I loved in all three of those, you had the somatic awareness and that it was that feeling of meeting, of being met. It all coming together.
Yeah, thank you. I feel that.
Would you like to add anything, Genevieve?
Yeah, I had the difficulty of receiving love or finding love for yourself. Yeah, I resonated with that a whole lot. And yeah, I was also aware of what your hands were doing and that part about finding yourself. I don't know. I was really enjoyed that metaphor of how difficult it is to receive love, to find ourselves when in that creative, loving moment, and the vulnerability of saying it, and if it allows me to recognize my own experience as my own, and the resonance with yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah. So the essence that I got, Carlene, was a seeker who was really aware that she could be loving towards another. And then kind of a curiosity about how can I be loving towards another, and then when the love is coming towards me, why is it more difficult? And and then talking about doing a loving act on your own behalf. I love the way you drew out the three parts. The struggle that was going on with that, like maybe there, in some part of you didn't have buy-in that it was okay to do that, and some part of you knew that was like, what you aspire to, or I don't know, those are just guesses, but I just really felt like there's this back and forth going on in your consciousness about, wow, is it okay to do that? Can I do that? I wonder why I can't do that. Why is it hard to do that? And not really any answers, but just the pondering. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's the back and forth and the pondering for sure.
Yeah. And also it was very sweet to hear the very uncensored living expression of what was going on inside of you. So thank you.
Thank you, David.
Anything you want to say before we ask someone else to share their?
No.
To the next person.
Feel complete, heard,
Okay.
sensed.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Is it okay if I go, Ali? I was finding it tough to not have my monkey brain take a lot of space, which was a sweet reminder that I haven't meditated regularly for quite a while, and that muscle is getting weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to exercise it more. In some sense was similar to what Colin said, because finding something I did with love for someone that was plenty, and it was easy, and having two of my sons at home, it's kind of a all day going on, and I like it, and I do it with, I know what I'm doing. And then when you asked us to look into someone, then I got all teary. And it's not a surprise. I know receiving love is not easy for me. And I guess a part of me was a little, oh darn, here we go again. I don't know, what would I lose if I opened up to love really fully? And loving myself was easier than it has been, as I was kind of saying in my check-in. I'm in kind of a place of peace with myself and feeling quite mindful and choiceful of the choice I make. And so that was reassuring, of something reminding me what you said at first, like instead of, oh, you silly or whatever, just, yeah, here I am. I'm not to the I love you, but I am at here I am. Yeah, I think that's all for now.
Who would like to reflect back the essence of what Genevieve have said?
So I'll attempt a little bit of that, Genevieve. So you, like me, in that first part of giving was easier. Two sons there, and the giving just comes, you know, from that source of love. Then recognizing that the receiving is a little less, a little not as easy to take in. And I think I heard you, it was a question that I really enjoyed hearing. What would that be like to fully receive? What would that be like to fully receive someone's love? It's a magical question to me as I heard you. And then this third part, you're in exploration, you feel easier in coming to yourself and loving yourself, yet there's still, you're not able to say I love you, but I'm here. There's a presence there. Okay, I'm here. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Love that question. What would that be like?
Allie?
I was really hearing your deep awareness through each of the phases and acceptance that I am here with all, even with the meditation piece. Oh, there's monkey mind, awareness of it, and then acceptance. Okay, meditation, muscle. And also just even in looking at like what, your two sons are there. So there's lots of opportunities to be giving, to be offering love. Okay, I'm here with that. Like, so yeah, just really appreciating the steadfastness of being here, and what love can only come in from that deep presence, right? That immediate moment. That was part of what I loved about this experience that David led us through, was deep in presence and then letting the love spill forth. So I was just really hearing that even in your, what would it be like to really open to love? Like your presence, the foundation is all there. Exploring, ready. Yeah. So.
Well, one thing that really came alive for me, Genevieve, when you were talking, is I love your monkey mind, because I know it's working really hard to keep you safe, and it's absolutely devoted to your well-being. And it's, our monkey minds process so much stuff because they're looking for that sweet spot where we'll be okay, where we'll be fulfilled, where we'll be accepted. And so that really came up for me when you were talking about your monkey mind. The other thing that really resonates with me in what you said was a real openness. I'm here. It was easy, the first part. The second part, what would it be like? What if I got to lose, is what you said. So I interpret that as, what am I holding on to? And then the third part of, I'm here. And so to me, it really embodied that observational quality of NVC, of just being aware of you and what's going on. And I can't help but juxtapose that with the determination I've seen in you to pursue this work and find a meaningful way to spend this life. So those are the things that came up that I heard in your reflection. So, have you more to say before we give Allie a shot?
No, I don't. Thank you very much. It is, I guess this, having the three of you reflect what I just shared was, I don't know, kind of pushing a little bit that, what would I lose, or what would it be like if I let it in? Yeah. Just making that link within myself. It's almost embarrassing. That's too much, Like, whoa.
Right.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Allie.
So, in the first part of giving love, loving act towards another, I probably went through 3 or 4 acts, but with each one, I had the judgment then of, that's not really enough. And it took me till the end and listening to you each share and us all reflect, for me to realize that that was happening, that I was like measuring while in the meditation. And each one of them was like, that's not big enough. And I realized that part of the measurement I was looking for was like how far out of myself I was in order to create that loving, giving act, which is the thing I've been working on for a really long time, of like, can I be with myself and be in loving acts for another? So it's not so much of a this or that it could be an and experience. And then the second one, receiving. And I just want to comment that each of those supposed little acts of giving, David, I forget the verbiage you used exactly, was something about how did it affect you and how did it feel in your body. And with each one, I could feel like this ripple effect go out that then often was a connection with the person I was directly in giving with, but even others around us. So that was really enjoyable to feel that, to feel like the lake and the pebble all at once. And then the receiving was really enjoyable. I've been focused on receiving more in a more gracious way and actually stopping and taking it in. And they were little things. Again, little acts. There's that judgment of like, how big is it? How small is it? And then the third one around giving to myself is something I've really been focused on in the last month. So I had quite a few immediately accessible, and it just felt good to reflect on them instead of continuing to plow through like more. Even though I've done some, I still need to do more, and that there's going to be some cumulative effect. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Who wants to reflect? Thank you.
I could go. I'm really enjoying that. What I'm perceiving as a very refined capacity of your own self-awareness, and I'm hearing a lot of tenderness around those things you judge, those big acts or little acts, or is it good enough? I guess those are my words, I guess, but like that scale somehow you have created for yourself, and there seem to be a lot of acquaintances about it. And I'm celebrating that that it was easily accessible to find ways where you can hold yourself and choose to love yourself in whatever ways and expressions. I don't know, I felt a lot of peace watching you describe your experience, even with that little game of scale. You not take that too seriously. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I will also contribute to reflecting and picking up some pieces of being heard. That there's a measurement that you hold. I was hearing you say, is that enough? As you think about the giving, and it almost had a feel of a scale, like, you know, one side being heavier than the other, as I heard you. And that question, can I be in myself and give from a loving, and give a loving act? There's an inquiry there in you that I heard you're living into in that first expression of giving. And I was really glad that you talked about the impact, like the being the lake and the pebble, and sensing into that inquiry for yourself too. In the whole three parts, there was an inquiry, and the last part especially, of how you said, I've really been paying attention to that, loving myself. So in all of that, there was this expression of being alive in me, as I heard you, like that's an aliveness that you're holding, of living in inquiry. That's what I received from that. I don't know. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
It was helpful for me.
Right. I certainly resonated with your talking about the ripple and your awareness of the connectedness. You know, and I know that, you know, in the past you've talked about doing psychic stuff and kind of tapping into that more global morphic oneness. And so I just really heard that awareness, that training in that comment about the feeling the connections going out. The other thing that really struck me was just like this hunger, almost an insatiable appetite to contribute. And underneath that, what I heard was joy. It's like life can be so wonderful, and there's so much magic and mystery, and am I doing enough to bring that out? Am I contributing to other people enough that they feel welcome and whole? And so I really, that appetite, that quest, or that appetite that for contribution, I really saw it as a desire for wholeness. You know, in others and in self. And kind of like a signpost, you know, I've been working this stuff for a long time. How am I doing? You know, am I more at it? Am I more effective at it than I was 6 years ago? You know, has this work that I've been putting in really been paying off? That's sort of what I heard in the judgment also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm complete. Your turn. Anything you want to add or say?
Yeah, I'm just grateful for each of your reflections, and I noticed it's like I want to just trust the, you know, the flow, the giving, the contribution, and trust that those ripples are there. But it almost feels like trying to be too spiritual, you know, to not look. And to say, like, it's okay to look, you know, again, and see, like, what, you know, what's really happening here? How is this being received? And to look more from that space instead of like trying to get down into the granular of like, well, how far did the ripple go? Like, how many times did the rock skip? You know, just like I've been using some ineffective metrics. So yeah, to hear it summed up in that bigger picture and bigger scheme of contribution, of inquiry, you know, of awareness, it's really helpful. Thank you all.
All right, so I will share a little bit what it was like for me, even though I was the one giving it because I want the reflection back. That affirmation that I am. So most of the time, when I start off on a meditation, I have no idea where it's going to go. And that was the case this time too. Other than I knew, and I've given it a bunch of thought over the last 3 days about what I wanted to do tonight, but not in terms of technique and lesson plan, more in terms of the spirit, the intention of this evening. And it was when I was painting about 3 hours ago. You know, I thought about empowerment and feeling powerful, and I thought about just affirming self-worth and seeing value, and I ended up this afternoon just kind of hitting on an experience of love. And as I went through the meditation and it kind of unfolded in front of me, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed talking about love and inviting people to feel love. And it felt like it moved through me as I was talking. Not like it was something I did and figured out, but it was just like I was there and I was experiencing the words as I was delivering them to you. And also, you know, I had my eyes closed. The other thing that I rather enjoyed was with just the four of us, I didn't have to use the stopwatch and say, okay, Allie, break us into groups. We're going to give the 1 minute warning for people to come back. So I really enjoyed the fact that we didn't have to do breakout groups. And it just really felt good to be saying what I said. And I also noticed my voice became very soft and I was feeling soothed as I was talking. And I think I'm complete. I'm complete. I'm not quite complete, okay. I had one more agenda item when I talked about perception. You know, at the beginning, it's like doing a meditation like this, inviting people to ponder this, for me is a way of embedding or giving people an experience of a way of perceiving that hopefully they can anchor to and come back to if they find it empowering. So that we are not so much at the mercy of the stimulus response universe. So that's an agenda that's almost always going on in everything I do. So now I'm complete.
I love hearing about the back end, you know, of things, like how it happens, how it all lines up. And so I love hearing, David, about your intentionality over days with, you know, not like you're saying, not the granular, not the over planning, the intention, and then the awareness of it dropping in even more strongly 3 hours before while painting, and then dropping in, you know, in it even more strongly, your voice changing, you receiving it as you were giving it, the wholeness, the contribution, the receiving, just all kind of merging into one. And yeah, I can taste it. I think that's what I was saying I'm looking for too, is like, where can there be the giving and the receiving at once instead of, you know, one way or the other. And yeah, and then wrapping to the end of that, this is an intention that you hold in everything that you do and that you help to facilitate. and feeling that as a participant, really feeling that intention throughout it. It's very much the lavender bath nervous system experience. So thank you.
So David, I marvel, this is more, not so much reflection as expression. I marvel at the bubbling up, what comes in you with this meditation tonight. Wasn't planned, it just started flowing, and you never know where it's going to go, and yet there were 3 very distinct pieces to it. I think of your mind as a fascinating place. Fascinating. Almost have a picture of me just sitting in there and just looking at it, going, "Oh my God!" So that was like the back end of that. That was, Ali said, that was so marveling at that. Now too, you heard you talk about the softness of your voice and how so there was this presence that came into you, and you were in the flow of the giving and the receiving. It was all that one. And your intention. Your intention is well spoken there for me.
Thank you.
I marvel at it. Yeah, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two things that come up for me is that how much you embody that sense of trusting in self. Like you're, like you said, like starting the meditation, not quite sure, and it's not written down, it's not trusting your soul, your heart, and maybe exactly what it needs to be, and capacity of the 4 of us to stay together also. Not having to do technology so you can really be with us into it. And and even how it came, like the back end, like Ali was saying, because I don't know, it gives me some reassurance, because I do that quite a lot. Like I sit with things and I just do other things, and then all of a sudden, boom, it lands. And there's some, so watching you do that and having watched you do a lot of other things and seeing how powerful it is, it gives me faith in, maybe I can trust that a little more, which I have, and yet I go through the grind, and you know. So really receiving plenty of that you want to offer, and I'm believing that you're receiving that that much as it's happening, as we were talking about the giving and receiving in the moment, in the same divine sparkle. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It does, and what really, and Ali started it, what I wasn't really quite aware of, that hearing you guys reflect back has really put my focus on, is that giving and receiving in the same act. And it's absolutely accurate, and I never really thought about it that way before, but it really, that's where a lot of the sweetness comes from when I do it, when I enjoy it.